Alright, so we're out here on a open loop Geo. It was installed without any water filter, and it's not very old, but it's already got a bunch of crap in the Coax. So we're here with Jason Smalley, and what do we need to do, Jason?
First, we're gonna take the flexible lines off of the Geo, and all it is a simple compression fitting with a hose that if you undo that nut there, the hose will then come off. So you're gonna disconnect both of those. And then what we're left with is two 1-inch male pipe thread connections. And so I've fabricated these adapters. So you got 1-inch pipe thread here, and then going into a garden hose adapter there.
So sometimes these are installed with boiler valves on them. This particular unit didn't have any, so Jason's made these adapters. The pump will hook right onto the boiler valve so we can circulate our acid through there.
And generally those you just want to do hand tight, because it should compress the seal in there. It doesn't need to be much tighter than that. It's actually a kit for flushing tankless water heaters, but it's got the little, I think it's a 1/4 horsepower sump pump submersible inside, and then it's got two basically washing machine hoses to adapt the pump into this, and then one for return. So we'll connect those up to the adapters. See what's in there. I'm going to pump the fluid actually going backwards through the coax. So I'm going to put the pump discharge going into the water out of the coax.
Push it back out the way it came in.
Yep. Alright. Now all we need to do is mix up some of the descaler. So this is the product that I'm going to be flushing with. New Calgon makes it. It's called calci-solve. It's a super strength descaler. And like I said, it's concentrated. It is pretty dangerous stuff. I've used it in the past. And the vapor, it says vapor harmful, causes severe burns, corrosive. The vapors of it are pretty fierce. I can't attest to it causing severe burns because I've always been careful using it. Probably a little higher than 3 to 1, probably like maybe even 4 to 1. Alright, Climate Masters have a internal solenoid valve, and so we'll need to open that up to flush it. All you have to do is depress the button and then it becomes manual override. And you can see the knob went from being perpendicular to parallel now, and that means it's open. Maybe. How's that clogged up?
That's pretty dirty.
Stinks. It smells like muck. Yeah, we'll let this run for maybe 10 minutes and then change out the water and chemical and solution again. When that's circulating through there, you can do it just like a closed loop flush and fill, and you can do what's called deadheading on the outlet line. Basically, you just shut the valve real quick and then open it back up, and that just kind of shocks, you know, the water in the coax and then lets it flow again. Just kind of helps loosen anything that may be in there.
So we've done 2 rounds. We're gonna do a round of clear water to see how clean it is. One final round of clear water. Looking very clean now. Coming back pretty clear. Put in some spin down filters. Those are sediment filters to keep it from getting gunked up again. We put 2 of them just so it doesn't have to be flushed out and cleaned as often. It'll hold a lot more dirt. Spin down separator from Rusco. Part number 1-60-F. It's the 60 mesh. 100 mesh will probably clog up too fast. Before we did this flush, we had about a 17 psi pressure differential between the inlet and the outlet. So it was definitely clogged up, and it's flowing great now. Okay, so I have the water flow chart pulled up for that unit. This call was a no heat call. Actually, they had heat, but they only had auxiliary heat. So when Jason got there, the unit was running on backup heat only. There was an error message on the thermostat. I believe it's fault code 4, which indicates low coax temperature, low water temperature in the coax. And that can happen for a few different reasons, but in our case, it happened because there was not enough water flow through the coax. So that refrigerant couldn't absorb any heat out of the water because there just wasn't enough water flowing through that coax. Our unit is model number 042, which means it's a 3.5 ton, 42,000 BTUs. And our water temperature was about 50 degrees. So if you line that up on the chart, you can see the maximum pressure drop that we want to see if that unit's running properly is about 5.4 psi. Jason was reading a pressure differential of 17 psi. So way off the charts, definitely indicated a water flow problem. There was definitely something clogging up that coax in order to cause such a huge pressure drop. So after he flushed it and got all the dirt and mud out of that coax and started it back up, it was running right at 5.4 psi pressure drop, which is great. That unit has a self-modulating solenoid valve on that Climate Master unit, so it modulated itself right to this 5.4 psi pressure drop, which correlates to 10.5 gallons per minute of total water flow through the coax, which is right where we want to be. If you take that 10.5 gallons per minute and you divide it by our 3.5 tons, you come up with 3 gallons per ton per minute. So that's running great. Remember, we always want between 1.5 and 3 gallons per minute per ton on a properly running geothermal coax. So this unit was running great after he flushed it.